Pessoal, então vamos retornando, vamos sentando. Eu vou chamar aqui no palco uma jovem igual o Nicholas, de 23 anos de idade. Ela nasceu em Massachusetts. É a Kassy Dilon. Ela também tem Twitter. Ela ontem estava tweetando que ela estava muito impressionada com a energia. Parece aqui no Brasil que o CPAC está com aquela energia de estádio de futebol. E nós brasileiros somos muito conhecidos, né, por causa desse esporte. Ela que é comentarista política, criadora do movimento conservador Lone Conservative, atuante em diversas universidades norte-americanas. Suas opiniões já foram publicadas em grandes veículos dos Estados Unidos, como Fox News, Wall Street Journal, e Daily Wire e The Hill. Então eu queria que, por favor, a gente recebesse essa jovem universitária de 23 anos de idade, a Kassy Dilon, por favor. Pode entrar.
Thank you.
E vai colocando aí o aparelhinho no ouvido para escutar a tradução. E ela vai falar um pouquinho de como é que são as universidades nos Estados Unidos. E eu tenho certeza, Bárbara, Valid Fairs, que nós aqui vamos reconhecer muitas das dificuldades que nós temos devido à militância nas universidades do Brasil. Vocês vão perceber que tem muita também semelhança com o que ocorre nos Estados Unidos. Kassy.
Thank you. Hello, Brazil. It is so great to be here. I just wanted to start off by saying your guys' energy is unmatched. Last night, I felt like I was at a soccer or a football game. You guys were on fire. You guys have chants. You have songs. I wish American conservatives will look to you guys for inspiration. So I first heard about your movement while I was working for Ben Shapiro at the Daily Wire. I heard Ben Shapiro has some fans here. Is that right? And so I was contacted by a man named Mario Balaban. And he told me that there was something going on in Brazil and that I should write an article about it. Now, to be honest, I focus on Middle Eastern policy and politics in college campuses, so I wasn't interested. I thought, why would I want to cover some socialists running in Brazil? I had no idea that there was a conservative movement. And so he asked me again a few weeks later, and again I ignored him. And then one more time he asked me, and finally I said, all right, I will look up who this guy named Jair Bolsonaro is and see exactly what he's about. And then Mario said I should interview Eduardo. And so I had the opportunity to interview Eduardo. And, you know, when I looked up both of their names in the American media and in the international media, I'd say the media's not very nice to them. What do you think? Is the media nice? No, no. I would say that your media hates the Bolsonaros more than our media hates Donald Trump. So I interviewed Eduardo, and I was not easy on him. I asked him a lot of hard questions, and I found Eduardo to answer them very bluntly, but he was kind about it. He was honest with me, and I thought that was really important. So I'd like to say I wrote the first article about your president in America that was fair, because most of them are not. And so I just want to thank you guys again for having me here. It's wonderful. Everyone has been so kind. Besides your media, I've been tweeting about this quite a bit, and your media is going after me, man. I think they're worse than our media. Now, last night, Eduardo showed a video of your guys' college campuses. So I thought it was only fair if I would show you a video of our college campuses. So that's what we're going to do right now.
Oh, we should go. Whoa! Yo, awesome! Look at that! Right there. You're so brave.
Come at me. Come at me. Okay?
Students, community members at UNC Chapel Hill demanded that the university denounce white supremacy and an end to police violence.
The same shit twice! Police! These are kids at these college campuses.
Patrol, murder patrol,
Border
patrol, murder patrol.
They grew up dipped in Purell, playing soccer games where they never kept score. And we're asking them to be mature.
That looked like it hurt.
We need the adults to start being the adults.
Ben Shapiro. UC Berkeley.
And she decided to kill her 3-year-old child.
I meant to get your phone.
Jordan Peterson.
Once the M80s started being thrown, police moved back.
It's one thing to protest someone's right to come here and speak, but it's another thing to create this much amount of destruction and violence.
Did it, Patrick! We saved the city! Just think what might have happened if we didn't tell everyone about the monster!
I hope you guys liked that. So that last clip you saw of the student waving her hands above her head, I took that video at a college campus near my school. And so I went there as a journalist. We have a lot of student journalists in America who document these things happening on college campuses. And if you guys are tweeting about it, that's great, but you need to document it. We need articles, we need platforms, we need publications, we need organizations. You need the structure for the conservative movement. You need to have tons of them. There's so many of them in America that we are actively competing with each other. And so that last one you saw of the girl, that was at a college campus near me. I was assigned to go there, and there were 3 speakers who I had never heard of before. And it was during finals week. I didn't want to be there, but I went, and the students were losing their minds. They were going insane. And honestly, I didn't think anything was strange. I thought that was normal, because that's what happens on my school. Raise your hand if you are a college student. Okay, so we have a few out there, great. I want to talk to you guys afterwards. So they put me in Fox News to talk about it, and she became one of the most popular memes of 2016. I know you guys like memes as well. We had a training last night by Eduardo about memes. They're pretty good. I think they might be better than the American ones, to be honest. So I started talking about campus lunacy and bias on college campuses. And I went to a school called Mount Holyoke College in Massachusetts. It's an extremely small, leftist, all-women's college. And I didn't go there knowing anything about the political climate. I didn't pick my school and how political it was. That didn't even cross my mind when I was filling out applications. And my first week, there was a girl named Yvonne who asked everyone, hey, are there any other conservatives here in our Facebook group? And I responded saying I was a conservative. And so right after that, we were known as the 2 conservative girls for the rest of the semester. And Yvonne was different than me. She's a political animal. I wasn't really at that time. And so she started talking about things that were going on our campus. And she got attacked for it. They put notes in her door telling her she wasn't welcome there. They'd yell at her as she was walking places. One day I sat down at lunch with her, and this was during the Black Lives Matter movement in America. And we're sitting there eating lunch, and these students get on the stage, they grab a microphone, and they start calling her out. Could you imagine that? You're sitting on stage, having lunch, and people just get on stage and interrupt your lunch and just start yelling at you for what? For thinking different? There's nothing wrong with thinking different. So she ended up leaving the school, and she ran for a state representative seat in New Hampshire. She was one of the youngest ones in the country. I encourage you guys all to run as well. You need more young people to run for Congress. We need it in America, and you guys need it here too. Because I see that your movement is run by young people. There are so many young people out here, and CPAC in America is the same thing. It's about 50% young people, which is amazing. They say that if you're a conservative, you must be an old white man. And that's not the case. It's not the case at all. So Yvonne left, and I took up the mantle. I came out about what I believed. And people didn't like me for it, especially after the video that I showed you. Then we had a guy named Donald Trump run for president. And I announced my support for him in 2016. And my peers didn't think anything of it. They're like, oh, who's that crazy girl? There's no way Donald Trump's going to win. She's weird. She doesn't know what she's talking about. There's no way Donald Trump could win. I'm sure they said the same thing about Jair Bolsonaro, which I saw in your videos, which were great. It was really funny. And I think we have a treat for you later with something similar. So I said I was going to vote for Donald Trump. And the day before the election, people still thought I was the crazy girl. But then I went to a Trump rally in New Hampshire the day before. And during this time, the day before the election, Trump did 4 rallies. I don't know how a guy his age could do that. I couldn't do that. He did 4 rallies. And the New Hampshire one was around 10 o'clock at night. And there were thousands of people there. It was really a movement, and it was something I've never seen before. So the next day, I was invited into our campus center to watch the results. The college Democrats, the liberals or leftists at my school, thought it'd be hilarious to watch the results roll in with me. They could see my reaction. It'd be funny seeing, look, your candidate lost. So I said, sure. I did not think Donald Trump was going to win, by the way. I was hoping for it, but I wasn't so sure. The polls were pretty not in his favor. And so we're sitting in this campus center. Just picture the scene. Sitting in a room, maybe a little bit smaller than this size, college students all around me. We're watching the results on the board. All of America is turning red, which means they're voting for Trump. So it's just turning red. And the students around me are crying, they're screaming, they're drinking, they're doing drugs. They're freaking out, they're screaming at me. I was the closest thing to Donald Trump for them. When I say I'm the lone conservative, I really mean it. I really was in my campus. And they're just freaking out. And each time I would get up to look at the results, they'd scream at me, sit your butt down, all of that. And then the next day, and I don't know if it was similar for you guys. It might be. Let me know if it was. The next day, I go to school, and many people went to work. People were dressed in black. They were crying. We had to cancel our classes. Same thing for you guys? Yeah. So I remember I walked into my Arabic class, and half the students weren't there. The ones who were there were crying and saying that we couldn't hold an actual class. Then I went to my Middle Eastern Studies class, and we sit down, and I really like this professor, so I'm not hating on him. I really like him, but we sit down. Again, half the students aren't there, and he says, all right, Kassy, in class. Well, first he said, I realize we can't have class today because of what's going on. So what should we do instead? Besides you, Kassy, I know you're fine. And so I said we should watch Hillary Clinton's concession speech live. And so we did. And it was amazing. It was watching her face, the faces of the people around me. It was great. And now I'm telling you this because I went through a lot of stuff in college. Some people even booed me at graduation. So I went through a lot. And I want to let you guys know, especially the college students in this room or parents with college students, encourage your students to speak up. I think your guys' college campuses are worse. We have a few conservative professors. To my understanding, your guys' colleges are not only run by leftists, but they're run by communists. Am I right? Raise your hand if you ever had a conservative professor while being in Brazil. I see like 4 hands. Raise your hand if you've had a communist professor while being... Everyone. It's crazy, right? And so what we need to do is not only complain about it, we need to fight back. More of you guys need to get into academia. More of you guys need to get master's degrees, doctorates. Start your publications. Social media is powerful, but it's not enough. So we need to do these things. So my first piece of advice is to mobilize. We have student groups in America that are responsible for bringing our conservative speakers. Because if we didn't bring them in, we would only hear from speakers who worship Bernie Sanders and the Communist Manifesto. Which, by the way, I was assigned to read 6 times in college. The Communist Manifesto, 6 times while in college. 6 times in 4 years. That's crazy to me. So, first piece of advice, mobilize. Start these student chapters. I saw they have a lot of energy already yesterday. 2, yes. What was it? The Movimiento Conservador? Is that how you say it? Yeah, you guys are on fire. I would really like a t-shirt, by the way. And then the second piece of advice, I want to stress it. There we go. Look at that flag. Social media is not enough, but it's important. So start publications. Lone Conservative is something I started because I had nowhere to publish. It's hard to get into the media, and it's even harder for you guys. You guys don't have a Fox News. We have a conservative outlet in America, which just so happens to be the most popular one in America. So you guys need to start these publications, and we can help. I can connect you. So if you're interested in starting something like Lone Conservative, talk to me. Third piece of advice. Thank you. Third piece of advice. Keep going, keep fighting, keep pushing forward. You guys have more energy than the American conservatives, and I can't wait to go back and tell them what I saw here in Brazil, because it's really inspiring. Thank you. Thank you so much, Brazil.